The headlines: protesting NLC TUC members block entrance to Abuja airport. DSS to clamp down on inflammatory comments ahead of November off-circle elections. Kaduna State government to resettle victims of bandits and rebuild communities destroyed by attacks. On the foreign scene, Paris hosts conference on humanitarian aid for Gaza. Time for the news update on Trust TV. I'm Abdullahi Ahmed. We start with developments here in Abuja as a protest by members of the organized labor has disrupted traffic leading to the Abuja International Airport as part of a series of actions by labor unions in reaction to the attack on the NLC president, Joe Ajero, in Imo State. Members of the Nigeria Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress have mobilized their members for the protest at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja on Thursday. Now, the organized labor gathered at the airport around 8:50 a.m. to enforce their directive to members working in the aviation sector to stop all flights to Owerri, the Imo State capital. The protest is part of a series of actions that the two organized unions say they will zero in on Imo State following the attack on NLC President Joe Ajero. The NLC and the TUC declared a nationwide strike, which will commence next week, Tuesday, also because of the face-off with the Imo State government.
They don't say though. The organized labor has blocked international airport Abuja. No going out, no coming in. Everywhere is stuck, stand still. His supporters, tinubu, his supporters, all the vampires in government supporting this barbaric governor. You will hear from us today. It's a continuous action. No back down. No back down. No going out, no coming in. Built with our money. So we decide who enter and who go out at any point in time. It's our airport.
All right, let's connect the dots with developments in Imo State and get an update. It is already day 2 in Imo State where the NLC has asked its members in the state to shut down electric power supply as well as aviation services, which is a direct connection to the protests here in Abuja. Let's now speak to Daily Trust reporter Ajibade Praise, who is standing by for us in Imo State. Ajibade, good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining. What have we learned so far? Day 2 of the strike action across Imo. What is the impact assessment like?
Well, it is day 2, yes. The impact assessment, I would say, is beginning to yield some form of serious effect. Earlier on, I went to the secretariat, the state secretariat, as well as the federal secretariat to cross-check happenings there. And it was evidently seen that workers are beginning to avoid their duties.
All right.
Most of them are beginning to leave their offices, even though you see them around, but you see them deliberately not, attending to their duties. As a matter of fact, some persons who came into the secretariat to, get one service or the other could not do so. She said, she spoke to me off camera that she was seated for 3 hours trying to see if they will have change of mind and attend to her, but to no avail. She has to leave the secretariat without, being attended to. So I would say workers in the state are beginning to comply to the NLC directive.
And what is the difference between today's compliance and yesterday?
Yesterday, it was more of a kind of trying to stock up food, trying to, we also witnessed some panic buying at filling stations. People were trying to also buy fuel. And, it was more of, movement, getting set, preparing themselves for the total showdown, I would say. Right. So yesterday was not really a kind of compliance, but a preparedness by the people. And today, I would say they're beginning to comply. And going forward, I think it's going to get much more compliance.
Right. Give us an update on the electricity service as well as aviation services in Imo State. What have we learned so far? Have they been restored?
Well, I will tell you, on the part of the electricity, for the past, in fact, even before the strike started, right from the day that incident of attack on the NLC president, the following day, Imo State was cut off from the national grid.
Right.
And up to today, I would tell you, Imo State has been in total blackout, and nothing has been done to restore that. As we speak now, I don't think there is any home. In fact, I can't confidently tell you, there is no home in Imo State that is connected to the national grid. So total shortage of power supply.
And what about air transport? Those flights, are they coming in? Have they been halted? And do we know if members of the aviation sector
yesterday, Go ahead. As of yesterday, you asked of the flight condition in the state, the aviation. As of yesterday, there was flight. I can confirm that. Some flights came in and out yesterday. But as of today, I can't really lay hold on that information if there were a flight or not. But for yesterday, a flight did operate. I will cross-check if possible. I can even drive down to the airport today to confirm that.
Ajibade, thank you for the good job. Appreciate the update, and we'll definitely circle back as these developments continue to unfold. Thank you very much for the update. Ajibade Praise there, Trust TV's correspondent in Imo, speaking to us about the developing issue around the labor face-off with the state government that has shut down services like at the Secretariat, as well as electric services that have not been available for quite some time. Now, let's take a look at other developments now. The Department of State Services says it will clamp down on stakeholders who act illegitimately by making inflammatory comments that could jeopardize the conduct of the gubernatorial elections across Kogi, Bayelsa, and Imo State. The spokesperson of the Secret Police, Peter Funaya, stated that the service has observed rising trends and patterns of incendiary comments by some personalities of influence and representatives of non-governmental organizations within and outside the country. According to him, the development is counterproductive to Nigeria, home or abroad, which can potentially demarcate the country through misleading and false narratives. In Kaduna State, Governor Obasani has announced plans by his administration in collaboration with the Operation Safe Haven to resettle southern Kaduna communities displaced by bandits to their ancestral homes. Governor Sani revealed the collaborative effort while addressing journalists shortly after the State Security Council meeting at Sir Kashim Ibrahim Government House in Kaduna on Wednesday. Flanked by the general officers commanding Division 3 and 1 of the Nigerian Army, Major General Abdusalami Abubakar and Major General Valentine Okoro, the Kaduna State Governor emphasized the government's commitment to providing all necessary logistics for the resettlement of displaced communities back to their homes. He says the government is also preparing to assist in rebuilding destroyed communities across Kaduna State. Major General Abubakar, who is the General Officer commanding the 3rd Division and Commander Operation Safe Haven, revealed that the first phase of the resettlement exercise will begin with 15 communities. Major General Okoro, on his part, added that the government and security agencies were harmonizing efforts with all security stakeholders across Kaduna State to create a network security architecture that effectively covers observed gaps within the state. Now, the current energy crisis in Nigeria is causing a surge in the consumption of fuelwood across the country. The hike in the price of cooking gas has further deepened concerns for households who have to use every resource available to make ends meet.
Nigerians are facing living condition crisis, which is pushing many households to the brink. The declining purchasing power has been compounded by soaring inflation, which is causing persistent hikes in the price of goods and services. With the current hike in the price of cooking gas, most low-income households are now switching to affordable and accessible fuel sources like charcoal to remedy the critical situation.
As they sell charcoal before, charcoal dey cheap o, they manage them. As gas cost, everybody go charcoal. As they see they sell now, they sell them, they manage and they go. When they hear where matter, so they come they increase the charcoal for us. And now gas cost, everything cost, everything cost. Charcoal now decrease, the dollar increase the charcoal money for us. So they complain say, fuel no dey. Now they don't increase charcoal money.
Before, gas was cheaper and we get it at a cheaper rate. We use it. We don't even bother to use charcoal. But now the gas is high, charcoal is high. No one is balanced. We are just managing.
Although the prices of charcoal has been impacted by inflation, it remains the most affordable energy source for consumers across the country. Medical and environmental experts are once again reiterating the dangers of an over-reliance on fuelwood for everyday household needs, highlighting its negative impact on health and environment.
People are advised to switch to energy that have zero or near zero carbon emission. Charcoal definitely does not pass for that. It goes for tree cutting because you cannot make charcoal if you don't cut down trees. So it's really a very bad environmental impact effect that we get when we rely on charcoal as a source of our energy.
The skyrocketing price of gas will force Nigerians to go back to woods, to go back to the forest and start cutting more and more trees. And by doing so, first of all, it will bring impact socially, economically, and also it will affect our livelihood.
The current situation poses a serious threat to Nigeria's socio-economic development as poverty and unemployment continue to rise unmitigated.
The newspaper industry in Nigeria, like most industries, is facing economic challenges that is impacting activities of newspaper operations in Nigeria. Peaked by the rising cost of production due to foreign exchange volatility, the Newspaper Proprietors Association of Nigeria on Wednesday called on the federal government to revive the 3 government-owned newsprint mills to reposition the sector. Here's a report.
Newspapers proprietors are speaking in unison regarding the challenges facing 3 government-owned newsprint mills, which has greatly impacted the sector. The Newspaper Proprietors Association of Nigeria said the factors militating against operations of Nigeria Paper Mill Limited located in Jeba, Kwara State, Nigerian Newsprint Manufacturing Company Limited, Oku Iboku, Akwa Ibom State, and Nigerian National Paper Manufacturing Company Limited in Ogun State need to be addressed by the federal government to ensure sustainability and quality service delivery. NPAN's president, Kabiru A. Yusuf, speaking in Lagos during the annual general meeting of the association, says the restoration of the newsprint mills will minimize the current pressure on the naira.
The press economy, unfortunately, sometimes people even lose their jobs. So it's not even the issue of improving the current conditions of work or salaries. Sometimes the press economy can kind of create a situation where people lose their jobs. We don't want that to happen. And that's why we are trying to see what is it that we can do, maybe internally to help ourselves, and to also ask the government if there are some mechanism they can do to help the industry.
Briefing newsmen on the outcome of its meeting, the association's publicity secretary says the meeting focused on the economic and administrative challenges affecting the print media sector in the country.
We spoke a lot about our production materials, us competing demand with dollars and, in purchase of newsprint, ink and some other production materials. And we also spoke about the extreme rise in prices. Over and above what we can phantom. By the time you hear the rates are this tomorrow, it goes double the price. And then you know that the revenue is not coming in like that because a lot of people cut down on their advertisement budget. And then we're also facing taxes from the government, from us, different places. So it really makes survival unbearable.
During the AGM, new members were elected into the Executive Council. The elected officers include the publisher Business Day, Frank Aibogun, as Vice President, the Chairman, Punch Newspaper, Angela Emuma as the General Secretary, the publisher, Daily Times, Fidelis Anosike as Treasurer, and the Managing Director, New Telegraph Newspaper, Ayo Aminu as the ex-official member. They were all elected unopposed. Some of the serving Executive Council members were returned unopposed, including Kabiru Yusuf as the president and Maiden Alex Ibru as deputy president. Others are Ray Ekpu as council member, Wadiotsu Ihe Kanwa as public secretary, Prince Dennis Sami as council member, and Azu Ishiekwene as assistant general secretary. The Dua of Olawale Edun and Muhammad Idris, who are now ministers, resigned as members of the Executive Council. The association's life patrons Nduka Obaigbena and Olusegun Osoba were present at the AGM.
You're watching Trust News Update, coming up after the break. Public outcry trails the cancellation of life pension for Gombe ex-governor. Details and more after the break. Join us again.
It was never a consensus. We did all our best. You see, in politics, you give your contribution to the best of your ability.
If you want, I'll forward to you this statement. You go to this bank and verify.
But there are people who say not spending money is not a virtue in itself.
Let me finish.
Because there's so much to be done.
Let me finish. Now, you don't allow me to explain myself.
The recent development shows abductions are now a factor of informants embedded in community.
It's not about the people of Katsina to say that, no, during my administration I was able to stop insecurity. No, it's about collective responsibility for all of us.
And what we should ask ourselves is not what has been seen, is the life better? Are there more people who are unemployed who are not become employed? Is the level of corruption has gone down? Is there inclusion? All those issues.
We're actually a gas country with associated oil. Our focus has always been on oil, that we have never paid significant attention to gas.
To do it effectively, we need to have honest conversation with ourselves. Government needs to come down from its high horse and communicate with the people and build trust.
There must be a solution. We cannot continue this way. They must come back to the table and agree. So whose child will do deny education? All these children that sit for jam, they want to go to higher institutions.
But just a short while ago you were saying that why bring 10 children when you cannot cater for them? So why bring more universities when you cannot cater for the existing?
Welcome back to the news. Let's take a quick look at the headlines at this hour. Protesting NLC-TUC members block entrance leading to Abuja Airport. DSS to clamp down on inflammatory comments ahead of off-circle elections on November 11. The Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, has appointed Tunji Disu as the new Commissioner of Police in Rivers State. The Inspector General of Police also has redeployed Nwonye Emeka from Rivers State to the force headquarters in Abuja. The redeployments were announced in a statement by force spokesperson Muyiwa Adejobi on Thursday. The Inspector General of Police ordered new postings for 14 Assistant Inspector General of Police and 24 commissioners. The redeployment of Emeka from River State Police Command and the posting of Disu to the command followed a political crisis that rocked the oil-rich South-South state last week. Now, the unpopular life pension packages for former governors in Nigeria has continued to generate public debate as Nigerians express dismay over the profligacy of people in power. A select number of former governors get jumbo pay as life pensions and allowances, despite government's limited resources to attend to competing demands of the people. Amidst the public outcry, former governor of Gombe State, Ibrahim Hassan Dankombo, has asked for the suspension of his life pensions and allowance. His decision, however, has elicited reactions from residents across Gombe State, as reported by Ibrahim Ismail.
Despite millions of Nigerians dealing with extreme poverty, some former governors have been living fat on government resources through life pensions and allowances, guaranteeing their continued welfare even after the completion of their tenure in office. The unpopular scheme has been brought back to the fore of public discourse as citizens and civil society campaign for the discontinuation of the immoral practice. Senator Ibrahim Hassan Dankombo served as governor of Gombe State between 2011 and 2019 and is one of the former governors enjoying life pensions. Recently, he wrote the incumbent governor in Wahia requesting for the suspension of his monthly pension and promised to refund of past payment. In a letter dated 4th October 2023, Dankombo said 694,557 naira 82 kobo is the total monthly pension and allowance being paid to him as former governor of Gombe State. The letter, which has now gone viral, is causing an uproar among members of the public.
For us to fight corruption, if at the end of the day as a governor you know that there is a provision for you either as a pension or any benefit to be given to you after you may have served, that will stop you from even diverting the public fund. So promotion of democracy and sustainability of democracy should go in line with the constitutional provision. So therefore I don't see there is anything wrong.
Gaskiya sakona zuwa ga majalisa akan wannan kudaden da ake ba tsofaffin gwamnati.
I urge the legislature to amend the law which gives life pension benefit to the governors. The money should be channeled to address the country's problems for the benefit of the masses.
As the debate continues, many say there is a need for legislative amendments that will ensure life pension laws for politicians are repealed from the system.
It's administrative, but they just work for 4 years and they are entitled to so much allowance. While you have millions of Nigerians that are unemployed, millions of Nigerians, school teachers are not paid very well, infrastructures in the universities also are going on strike. Then a fragment of Nigerians who worked in the office just for 4 years are entitled to so much. Why? Because when those laws were made, we were all sleeping.
Dankombo's request to suspend his monthly pension and allowance comes after the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project (SERAP) obtained a court order instructing the federal government to recover pensions received by ex-governors currently serving as ministers and members of the National Assembly. It is, however, unclear whether the two-time governor was compelled or acted willingly. In any case, his actions appear to be too little, too late to ingratiate him from the public. Ibrahim Ismail, Trust TV News, Gombe.
On the international scene, French President Emmanuel Macron is hosting a conference on humanitarian aid for Gaza. This is as the Israeli military says its troops have advanced into the heart of Gaza City, Hamas's main bastion and biggest city in the coastal enclave, while the Islamist militant group says its fighters have inflicted heavy losses on the Israeli forces. The United States says Wednesday that it opposed any Israeli reoccupation of the Gaza Strip after the conclusion of the current Israeli-Hamas war. The U.S. launched airstrikes on a site in Syria on Wednesday in response to Iranian-backed militia attacks on bases housing U.S. troops. The health ministry in Hamas-run Gaza said Wednesday that the number of Palestinians killed in the war has surpassed 10,500, a toll that includes more than 4,300 children. Henry Onyekuru has been named on the Team of the Week for Week 12 of the Saudi Arabian League with the week's highest rating of 98 points. The Super Eagles winger is enjoying his football again in Saudi Arabia after time in France, Belgium, Greece and Turkey. Onyekuru scored for Al Fayha to pull a goal back at Al Tai before they eventually rallied to score a 3-3 draw, or rather record a 3-3 draw on the road. Onyekuru has now netted 3 goals since his arrival from Turkey this summer. Cote d'Ivoire skipper Frank Kessie and former Fulham striker Alexander Mitrovic also were on the score sheet for the team of, or rather, were on the list for the Team of the Week. Well, that's all the news at this hour. Thank you most kindly for joining us. Feel free to join us later as we bring you more news updates. But for now, follow us across our social media platforms, and you can take a look at our website, trusttv.com, for the latest news. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. Thank you for watching.